This section of our Getting Started guide is going to cover your user setup. To access your user setup, to create usernames or modify security levels, go to the Administration section and select the Users and Security tab on the left-hand side. From here, you'll see three sections. Users, where you manage your actual usernames and different logins. Security groups, where you can control what access to the system those users have. And supervisor logs, which we are not going to cover today. If you are a new user to TurnCloud, you will have been provided a default admin username and password. If you are not familiar with that username and password, please check your email to make sure you've received a welcome letter from our support team. That welcome letter will include your account number, brief instructions on logging into TurnCloud, as well as your initial username and password. It's important, though, from here to ensure that your various staff members have their own username and password. The rest of this section is going to cover that process. From this users section, you'll see any and all users that you've already created. You can hide disabled users in the case that you've inactivated a login. Say a staff member has moved on to a different job, something like that. Pending is going to show any usernames that have not been completely set up yet, and we'll go into that in a little bit. And then all just simply shows all users regardless of their status. Beyond that, to create a new username and subsequently be able to log in under that username, you're going to select the option that says Add New Record on the top of the Users section. Doing so, you will be met with this prompt, and you want to fill this out with the primary email for the user that you're adding in, their first and last name, middle initial if you want, and an alternate email, which is optional but is useful in the case that you forget your login information and need a backup email to reference. After inputting the necessary information, you're going to go ahead and click Update. At this point, we are halfway done with this user configuration. The person that we just saved is going to now receive an email from TurnCloud in the email we provided in this user setup. They need to go in, read that email, select the link provided, and configure their password. Notice that upon logging in as this new user, I do not have access to a lot of the different sections within TurnCloud. In fact, this particular user only has access to the Patients tab. This is because I forgot to select the appropriate security level for this user when I was setting it up. So this is just an example of why it's important to understand security levels and how to configure them. I'm going to go ahead and log out of this new user and log in as my previous administration user so that I can configure the security level for this new username that we just created. I'm now logged in as an administrator that has full access to the system. As such, I'm able to configure the security level for that user that we just created. I'm going to go into the Administration section, go to Users and Security, find the user that we're looking to configure within our user list, double click on it to select, and notice that we now have a user group section. What you want to do is select the appropriate user group for this user. So if this person should truly only see the Patients section, leave it on what it is. If they are an administrator and they need full access to the system, select Admin and they will have that, or something in between. And you can control what these security groups represent in terms of what access a person has if they're assigned one of these particular user groups. For the sake of this example, I'm going to select admin. And this user now, upon logging in, is going to have full access to TurnCloud. If you wish to look at your security groups, create a new security group, or edit what sections the ones that are built in give access to, you're going to do so through the security group section on the left. So choosing security groups, in my case, I have the default security groups that are included with TurnCloud. If I want to create a new security group, I would select Add New Record. If I want to edit one of the original security groups that are in the program, I simply double click on it, and it's going to have a list of sections within TurnCloud. And the idea is any section that is selected will allow access to that user when they're assigned to the security group that we're currently configuring. So for example, if I wanted to create a new security group, I can call this whatever I want, maybe Office Manager, and choose what sections an Office Manager should have access to. In this example, I'm basically just selecting everything but Soap Notes. It's important, though, to mention there's no right or wrong here. This is just based on your preference as an office and what you want your settings to be. Upon saving my new security group, I can go into my Users section, select the user I'd like to assign to that security group, and select it from the list. Once I select Update, it will save this change, and the user will subsequently have access to the sections I have configured.